The global economic outlook is one of the factors that will affect the price of all commodities, including oil and gas, over the coming months and years. I mean, if you step back and look at the situation on oil, for example, we've got probably about 1 million barrels a day of Russian oil off the market at the moment. That may double this month when sanctions come truly into effect, or maybe even more. Stocks in both oil and gas are relatively low around the world. Spare capacity in oil, I would argue, is relatively low. But there are uncertainties in the outlook. What's going to happen in Iran? What's going to happen, as you say, to the global economy, the effects of inflation? What's going to happen with U.S. shale? What's going to happen with the zero COVID policy in China? So lots of uncertainty in the outlook, but I think it would be fair to say that our view is that prices will be, there'll be no let up, so to speak, in prices for some time, and we can continue to expect a lot of volatility in energy markets as energy markets readjust and attempt to rebalance.
And just a quick update on the divestment program from here on in. Obviously, the Russia stake is a huge divestment that was unwelcome and untimely, and you're having to manage at this stage. Does that now point to a slowing down of the other sales that you were intending to make? I mean, how are you thinking about resizing the business from here on in? And is it still appropriate, given the high price of energy, to insist on such strong capital discipline?
So great questions. In terms of divestments and the overall financial framework, one of the things that we said on the back of our decision to exit Russia was that the financial framework for BP remained unchanged. The strategy for BP remained unchanged. The distribution model for BP remained unchanged. And this morning we're announcing a $2.5 billion buyback. And within that financial framework, our plans for divestments remain unchanged. So this is something that we stay the course. The plan is what the plan was for BP, and we intend to prosecute that plan as we go forward in the weeks and months ahead. So in many ways, Russia has not impacted that divestment plan. We made a plan to do about $25 billion, and we've done over $15 billion to date. We're not in a rush. We'll do $2 to $3 billion per annum over the next couple of years, and that remains the plan. In terms of capital discipline, I think we are absolutely remaining disciplined in our application of capital. It's hugely important for our investors that we do that. We do look for opportunities to increase investment where we can help countries with near-term supply. We're doing that here in the United Kingdom. We're doing that in the United States. So we do take opportunities where we can locally to increase investment to help alleviate the security of supply issues that we face today. But overall, for BP, it's important that we stay really, really disciplined when it comes to capital investment.
Bernard, just on that note, can I ask you about the money that you will invest in the UK, the 18 billion that you've pledged to invest in the UK energy system by 2030? And there's been a lot of discussion at a ministerial level as to whether there should be a windfall tax on companies like BP and Shell to try and offset some of the squeeze we've seen on customers. Do you think this investment is going to be enough to avoid some sort of fiscal intervention around energy prices?
Well, Karen, thank you for the question. And look, I'd say a couple of things, if I may, on this. I guess we should remind people that it's just 15 months ago that BP reported its largest loss in history, and that was because of low oil prices. Today, we have high oil prices, and a few things happen when prices of oil are high. Number one, we do make more profits, as you've seen this morning, that we can use to reward our shareholders. Number two, we can invest more. And number three, we pay more taxes typically. On the shareholders, the first one, we are announcing that $2.5 billion buyback this morning. These are profits that are then rewarding our shareholders, who, by the way, are not some faceless institutions, but pretty much anyone who has a pension or pays into a pension in the UK is affected by that. Secondly, on investment, we are going to spend up to £18 billion in the United Kingdom through 2030. right across the energy spectrum, both in the existing hydrocarbons business, but predominantly in the energy transition space. And that's up, Karen. We used to spend about 10 to 15% of our capital in the UK. Now it's 15 to 20% with this announcement this morning. And then finally, on taxes, we will actually pay between £1.5 billion in taxes in the UK this year at current prices. And that's probably up 4 or 5 times. We're paying 4 or 5 times more tax this year than we have over the past many, many years. And that's one of the consequences of prices being high.
Bernard, what's coming through in your commentary, but also in the results today, is a sense of corporate responsibility at this point when we are seeing the pressure on consumers and across for businesses. But what about OPEC Plus? As you look at the industry dynamics here, there's been a lot of criticism that they're not doing enough to alleviate the shortages we're seeing out there in the oil market and not doing enough to take the heat out of the price. Do you agree with that? Should we see more action from OPEC Plus at this point?
Well, I think OPEC Plus is doing all it can to help alleviate the crisis. Supply is not something that we can necessarily turn on overnight. We're doing everything that we can. I think we brought over 50 cargoes of LNG to Europe over the last 5 months. We brought 7 LNG cargoes to Britain. So we are doing everything that we can to help alleviate the current situation. That's what our trading division does. It connects suppliers with customers, trying to make the molecules flow. And this has been probably the most volatile quarter in the energy industry's history. So that's what we try to do each and every day. It's not something that can necessarily just get turned on overnight, but I think there is a greater appreciation today of the role of hydrocarbons in the energy system, and I think we will see increasing focus on that over the coming months and years.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.